I will just describe how we use why we use the number line. The number line is basically a straight line that goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. It never ends. Okay, there is no minimum number in the world. There is no maximum number in the world. If you tell me a number, I'll give you a bigger number. I'll just keep adding one to it. We're never gonna finish. So it goes on. But in the center of this is 0. Okay, so we've got 1, you've got 2, 3, 4, and it goes on. You've got to the left hand, you've got to the left hand side, you've got -1, -2, -3, -4, and it goes on and on to the left. So what do you realize here? You can see that, for instance, 4 is bigger than 3, right? That's what we know. But also notice that 4 is on the right hand side of 3. Because of that, we use the number line to compare numbers. So if I ask a question, is 2 greater than -1? All you need to do is look at the number line and tell me if 2 is on the right hand side of -1 or not. Because 2 is on the right hand side of -1, it is true that 2 is greater than -1. Take note, the sign of greater is simply that sign. When you do your right hand like this, that's the greater than sign. When you do your left hand like this, that's the left hand, that's the less than sign. Okay, so it's a very straightforward thing. Yeah, also look at something I want to show you quickly. Look at -2 and look at 1. -2 is on the left hand side of 1. So we can say that -2 is less than 1. Do you realize that it looks like as if I multiplied the two sides here by minus? Because this was 2 and now it looks like -2. This was -1, now it looks like +1. But what else has changed? The sign has changed. This was a greater than sign, now it's a less than sign. It tells us something, that even without looking at the number line, if I give you an inequality and you multiply both sides by negative, then you must change the sign to the to the inverse sign. Okay, so a quick example again, just look at this. Without looking at the number line, I know that 2 is greater than 1. Now, if I multiply both sides by -1, what have I done? I'm going to have -2 and -1. And because I said if you multiply by negative on both sides, you must change the sign of the inequality. So if this was saying greater than before, now it's going to say less than. And is that true? Is that correct? How do you know? You look at the number line and check. -2, for -2 to be less than -1 means that -2 must be on the left hand side of -1, right? The left hand side. So this is where -2 is, and this is where -1 is. It is truly on the left hand side, so this is correct. So yeah, if you've got to multiply both sides by negative, change the sign. Okay, but mind you, we are talking about multiplication and division. If you divide this by a negative number as well, you're going to change the sign. So multiplication and division. Take note, if you are adding or subtracting a negative number, you have no reason to change the sign. For example, let me just write 2 is less than 4. That is agreed. Now let us subtract 1 from both sides. 2 minus 1 and 4 minus 1. This is going to give you a 1, and this is going to give you a 3. But 1 is still less than 3, yeah? So by adding a negative number, or you can say by subtracting a number, it has not affected the inequality sign. The only thing that affects the inequality sign is when you multiply or divide by a negative number. Now, that is exactly what we use the number line for. Another thing you need to know about the number line, which I must point out to you, is that we use it to represent a whole list of numbers. Yeah? For instance, if I ask that you show me on the number line